Hey everyone, how's it going? And welcome to the WCG North American Finals. I'm Alex Mendez, more commonly known as Golden Boy, and this is a man who needs no introduction in the Crossfire community. This is Gex. Anthony, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing very well. How you doing today?
I'm feeling all right. You know, I'm pretty excited for what we have coming up here, guys. We have we have 3 of the best Crossfire teams in North America competing for the opportunity to go to China and compete at the global finals. It's going to be awesome, representing the United States. But I think the cooler part here is that there is a story that has developed between these 3 teams. And if you guys aren't familiar, which I saw in the chat, people are very much so, Welfare as well as Carbon and Socks. And I just got to say, I love the name Welfare. That just cracks me up. But yeah, so anyway, Gex, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. I'm extremely excited to be here. This is my second year with WCG doing the Crossfire, and I've been around in the Crossfire community for a while doing the casting, and I love this community. I'm glad to be here at this event. I'm excited to see some good matches today. Yeah,
I'm really excited as well, guys. You know, I'm not an expert in Crossfire by any means whatsoever. That's why Gex is here to help me out. Okay. But we're going to be bringing you some play-by-play as well. Gex is going to be bringing you the expert analysis, and we're hopefully, you know, just trying to, I guess, broaden the audience even more and show you guys some amazing play, which I'm really excited about because I in fact do play Crossfire. I'm a big fan of the game, and it's just great to see that the tournament scene is still going, still thriving. I think that's great, especially you know, as a guy who comes from multiple titles in esports. It's good to know that there's always something going on for shooters, and that's more important to me than anything else.
Oh yeah, it's great. The community, I mean, it's been back and forth over the years. It kind of slows down and comes back up. But over the past couple years, the community has been growing. We've seen a lot of teams in online events. It's good to get teams out here. For these LAN events and stuff like that. And, hopefully we can gradually see even more growth for this community and shooters in general, over the years here. And, it's great to see, events like this. And it's going to be a good day.
Stuff. All right, so let's go ahead and bring up the bracket now and talk about what we're going to have coming up here. So for those of you who don't know, Carbon's going to have a bye going to the upper round 2, but Welfare and Socks, they are going to be fighting against each other in upper round 1. Then the loser of that matchup is going to be moving down to lower round 2, where they would actually meet up with the loser of the Carbon and whoever wins the Welfare Socks matchup. So, we're going to have at least 4 matches going on here, which is going to be awesome. And then we have our championship matchup. Now, I want you to tell me a little bit about these teams. Let's start with Carbon.
All right. Well, Carbon, first thing you should know if you don't already know it about these teams here. Carbon and Socks were kind of, some of the players from both of those teams were actually together at last year's event. Yeah. And they ended up splitting up and now are on 2 completely separate teams. There's players from last year's team on both Socks and Carbon.
So cool.
It makes it very interesting. And so that's the first thing to know about these guys. So there's almost like kind of that, you don't want to lose to your old teammates and stuff like that. So there's a lot on the line here today.
As a former competitor, I know the feeling.
Yeah, exactly. So Carbon, though, it was actually a team that went to CF Stars a few months ago, I believe, which is a big Crossfire event. They take the best teams from all over the world and send them over to Korea, I believe, or China, a country over there, and it's a very big thing for them over there, Crossfire. And they got to go over there. They got a lot of good experience there. They competed well. A few of their players actually finished at the top of some of the stats for the whole league when they were over there. So, I mean, these guys are some of the best in the world, not just North America, but some of the best in the world. Carbon is definitely the team to look out for. They won the first qualifier. They actually beat Socks. Socks they were in the upper bracket and made it into the final. They knocked Carbon down there, and Carbon actually ended up coming back and winning 2 sets of best 2 out of 3s in a row to actually take the first qualifier from Socks. So, Carbon is definitely
like the strong team.
Yeah, they have, all their players are strong. Everybody on their team. Many of their players have been to LAN, obviously. I believe the lineup that they have now, minus 1 player, went to CF Stars. So, I mean, these guys got a lot of experience. And, they're definitely, as I said here, the big team to look out for today.
They're the threat. Now, I was looking in the chat here, and a bunch of people actually have, they're rooting on for Carbon. I think I even saw someone say here that Welfare is playing for third. Then someone, Brandon Welfare, says Welfare is the best of luck, kick some ass. It's just some really cool stuff there. So I like this. I mean, I think that one of the cool things about this is that there's, besides just Carbon, they're coming into this. Now we have Welfare and Sox.
Yeah.
And also I want you to, I guess, kind of dive a bit into those two teams there.
Yeah.
You mentioned Welfare. They ended up getting knocked out there. They had a struggle in this one. Sox as well. So tell me about Sox now. I mean, logistically, can Sox go to the finals, or who's that team that could go that far?
I definitely say if there was anybody to contest Carbon here, and I'm not making, not saying Welfare can't do it, because I mean they came close multiple times, to taking maps off of Sox in the second qualifier, but Sox is a very good team. A lot of their players have LAN experience too.
Okay.
Some of them have been to China. Some of them have been to for the World Championships at WCG, and they, of course, were here last year and stuff like that for this event. So Sox also has a lot of talent and a lot of experience there. That's definitely going to help drive them forward in this event here. They have a player, Mav or Mavilov. He's been kind of changing his name around, but a very strong rifle. They have another one, Jaime, who's also been unreal on in online events so far this year. I mean, he's been just pulling ridiculous shots. So, I mean, Sox definitely has a lot of skill that they're going to bring to the table at this event, and definitely give Carbon and Welfare a run for their money.
Awesome. Okay, definitely looking forward to seeing that. I mean, let's see how this is all going to pan out. And then the Welfare team. Tell me about that one, because you said that we spoke about them before, and they have some fans out there in the chat, which I think is really cool. Yeah. What's the deal here? Tell me about this Welfare roster.
Welfare is probably they kind of came out of nowhere, to be honest. Getting here, I mean, they have a lot of talent on their team. They do have the talent. They've been playing together for a long time, and they actually ended up taking out Fly Society, which is another team that was in the qualifier. They actually ended up beating them pretty bad in, I believe it was the lower bracket championships or something like that at the second qualifier, and that was a big win for them. And that's when eventually they had to play Sox in the final. But they are a solid team. They're definitely not somebody that you want to underestimate by any means. Because they did, I believe, come pretty close to taking some maps off of Sox in that qualifier. So it's I don't think any of these guys out here today should be taking them lightly by any means. You don't want to underestimate them, because the second you do that, this is a team that can definitely creep up on you and definitely take you down when you're least expecting it.
Come back and totally catch you off guard. All right, well, that's good to know. That's good to know. So we're gearing up for our first matchup here, and I believe we're going to be kicking it off first with Black Widow. And going into this one, as far as Sox versus Welfare, who do you anticipate to be the team that takes game number one? Who's that team, that roster that comes out a little bit stronger at the start?
I have to give it to Sox on this first map here. They're very good at Black Widow. Black Widow is generally a map that a lot of teams are pretty decent at. It's very similar to DE Dust 2 for any Counter-Strike players out there. So it's a map that is very highly played in this community, and I wouldn't say that it's really a bad map for anybody, but I think the experience that Sox is bringing to the table is definitely going to play better for them against Welfare. So I would be definitely looking for that.
Okay, and we'll see what happens there, and then in Carbon, of course, they're going to be eagerly anticipating. Now I have to ask you, did Carbon run into Welfare at one point in time in the tournament, or it's just always been Sox and Welfare? Carbon's kind of just been on the outside of it.
I believe Carbon did play Welfare once in the qualifiers. I can't remember exactly when it was. I believe they beat them pretty heavily at some point. I mean, Carbon is a very strong roster, and I think they did have a pretty dominating score against them. But, I mean, this is a LAN environment here. And, all bets are off when you're on this kind of stage. So, it'll be interesting.
This is a much different audience. Now, someone actually brought up Carbon in the chat, and just want to say, so the name of Carbon is actually inspired, which is cool, right? It's inspired by the Halo 2 team. Carbon, from what I understood. So they were big fans of Carbon, and they inspired them to go with that name. So that's awesome, because as a guy who competed in those games and comes from that audience, I'm like, that's great, man. Go Siami is like one of my close friends, and you know, he's the founder of Carbon. So it actually is kind of cool. You know, I should just tell him, be like, yo, this team's repping the brand, man. That's some great stuff. That's some great stuff. So we have a couple minutes before the game goes live, and then we'll go ahead and hop into the action here right away. So, you know, it's not going to be that much of a delay, everyone. But we want to thank you all so much for joining us here. Like I said before, we're going to have at least like 4 matches going into this one, at least, because if the team from the loser bracket ends up actually winning their first game in the championship match, then we're going to go to 5 matches, or then we're going to go to an extra match, which would make the total to 5. So there's going to be plenty of Crossfire here to play here, and this is going to be the only game that we're broadcasting here today on the stream, right? So it's all Crossfire love today, which is great. And, you know, just get vocal about it. Let everyone know what's going on out there.
Definitely.
Tweet. If you use Twitter, you know, tweet that we got a broadcast going on. If you use Facebook, social media, get out there and let people know what's going on, because this is certainly going to be really cool. I've never, and I'll just be very honest, I've never, you know, commentated this game before, you know, so I'm going to bring my style of casting to it, but luckily I have Gex here to assist me, which is going to be awesome. Or I should be say, I'm going to be assisting him. And, you know, again, if there's any I guess feedback you have for us, feel free to let us know in the chat always, because I have it up here and I will be looking and seeing what you guys are saying. So there's some cool stuff here, and I guess finally looking into this one, we have 3 teams here. If you had to pick who's going to go and represent the United States of America at the WCG Global Finals, who would you pick to win it?
That is, that's tough. That is very tough.
Did I put you on the spot there?
No. I think I can make a prediction here. I know Sox was at a LAN center late last night, practicing. Regardless of that, though, you know, love the guys to death. Have friends on both teams. I hope they don't hate me after this, but I think this is going to be Carbon's tournament here. I think they're an extremely strong team. They got a lot of experience, and you know, the thing is, it could go either way. It's definitely between those 2 teams. They go back and forth all the time. So, you know, but if I had to make a prediction, I would say Carbon.
Carbon. All right. Well, you know, I got to root for the underdogs, man.
Yeah, I'm normally like that too.
I'm gonna have to say I would like to see Welfare actually take a run.
That would be awesome.
One, because a team called Welfare going to the global finals would just be hilarious, because no one's gonna know what Welfare is. and then the other thing is just, you know, it's always good to see the underdog, right? But I do also want to give a big shout out to our Brazilian viewers right now. You know, there are people out there typing in the chat. They're rooting for Carbon from Portugal. So big thank you to the Brazilian audience for tuning in for the broadcast. You guys are amazing. I even think I saw someone say that they were from Egypt up in here too.
Oh,
it's
wow.
Like, what you know, it's crazy, because Crossfire is a very popular game throughout the entire world. It's very well renowned, especially
over in Asia. It's huge over there, much bigger than we can even.
And the Brazilian audience, like you and I were talking about, the Brazilian audience is also very big too. Like those are big things that, you know, like I think people kind of don't take into account, right? Because North America is not the epitome of esports. There's
not at all.
There's so much going on throughout the entire world, and I think that's the cool part about Crossfire.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's big all over the place. It's one of the I would say it's one of the bigger games, you know, on a world stage. You know, maybe not so much in North America, but worldwide, it's a pretty big game, and you know, I hopefully it can grow more here in North America as we go on. But you know, it's good to see these kind of things happen.
Yeah, even saw someone from the Philippines up in here too.
Oh yeah,
that's
all over
awesome
the place.
Stuff. So we are going to get to the game in just a little bit, guys. I know you are all eagerly anticipating the action. So we're going to go and jump to a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be kicking off our WCG North American Qualifier Upper Bracket Round 1 matchup between between Welfare and Sox. So don't go anywhere. You definitely go on and tune that one. My name's Alex Mendez, more commonly known as Golden Boy. This is Gex, and we'll see you guys in a little bit.